So one of the most critical things to consider when you're applying Odie's oil is the amount of product needed to coat the surface that you're applying the oil to. And when it applies to wood, you have different species of woods and varying densities of each species. This is a piece of Brazilian cherry. This is a fairly dense wood. This wood's rated around 2400 on the Janka scale. That's a hardness scale that we rate woods at. This piece of wood, this Odie's oil jar, will cover about 400 plus square feet. The entire jar will cover 400 plus square feet on the Brazilian cherry. If this was a piece of oak, it would be around 200 plus square feet. If this was a piece of American Western red cedar, which is fairly soft, this jar would cover anywhere from 115 plus square feet. It's very important to consider that. It's really the biggest mistake that most users make when using Odie's oil. This jar of oil is so potent that it goes that far. 400 square feet out of this little jar. But the reality is that this stuff is very, very concentrated. There are no solvents in it. It is 100% the good stuff that belongs there in the wood. And that's why it goes so far. Most other finishes on the market contain up to 70–80% solvents. And some of the ones that claim they're solvent-free still contain 30% to 50% solvents. So big difference when applying Odie's. You have to consider your square footage. This piece of wood is around 18 square feet. We're gonna use very, very little. We're gonna use like a ½ ounce. That's after our pad is saturated. So the first part is to get the pad moistened with some oil. Then apply a small amount on the table, and I would say a ½ ounce would be more than enough to cover this piece. The biggest mistake you can make is to use too much oil. When you use too much oil, it makes it more difficult to take the finish off, because Odie's is applied by working it into the surface and then completely buffing it all off. So first step, make sure you do not use too much finish. Calculate your square footage, and we'll have a chart on our website you can base it on. We'll give you some ideas where to start, where the parameters are.